Hello there, welcome you to another edition of editorials. We are broadcasting from Canada. I am Sandra Asante. Today we'll be drawing serious concern on the 20 million needed AstraZeneca in Africa, as well as the world's most neglected crisis. So stay tuned, I'll be back after the break. You're welcome back from the break. We'll start with the AstraZeneca issue. The United Nations Health Agency's Regional Director for Africa said a pause in the continent's vaccination campaign will lead to lost lives and lost hopes. Africa has registered more than 4.7 million cases of the coronavirus, with nearly 130,000 deaths so far. Africa needs at least 20 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine within 6 weeks if those who have their first shot are to get the second in time, the WHO said on Thursday. Africa needs vaccination now, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti, the World Health Organization's Regional Director for Africa, said in a statement. As of 26th of May, Africa has registered more than 4.7 million cases of coronavirus, with nearly 130,000 deaths attributed to the virus. Separately, the head of the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Africa CDC, appealed to the international community to provide the required number of vaccine doses to the continent, considering this a collective security issue. We are not winning the vaccination battle in Africa, the Africa CDC Director John Nkenga said on Thursday during a weekly media briefing in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa. 43 million doses of the vaccine have been acquired, of which 23 million doses have been administered, he said. Africa's vaccination campaigns to battle COVID-19 are also facing delays because of the export ban imposed by India, the main suppliers of the AstraZeneca vaccine to COVAX, the UN-backed scheme that aimed to deliver more than 2 billion doses to 92 of the world's poorest countries this year. India have halted vaccine export as it grapples with the devastating resurgence of the diseases. Now let's look at the interest of all the countries concerning the French PM. Separately, the French President Emmanuel Macron said shipping COVID-19 vaccines to Africa was not a moral duty, but was also in Europe and other world's interest in order to prevent the emergence of new viruses variant. Speaking during the trip in Rwanda, Macron said that France was on track to deliver 30 million COVID-19 vaccine doses to Africa by year end, that Germany would also deliver 30 million doses, and that collectively the European Union will deliver more than 100 million doses for Africa this year. To help Africa get vaccinated, first of all, duty of solidarity, and it's also quite simple in the interest of all Europeans countries, all countries in the world, said Macron during a visit to the vaccination center in Kigali on the sidelines of a state visit. He said it is if all the countries did not get vaccinations, the virus will continue to spread and develop new variants. Now let's look at the most neglected crisis in the world. The Norwegian Refugee Council unveiled its annual index of the 10 most neglected displacement crises in the world. The Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC, has the world's most neglected number of displaced people, according to a new report by the Norwegian Refugee Council, the NRC, unveiling its annual index. The aid agency said on Thursday that a recorded 2 million people were displaced last year in the DRC. And with 27 million people, including more than 3 million children who do not know where their next meal is coming from, it has been the greatest number of people in the world who face food insecurity. DRC is one of the worst humanitarian crises of the 21st century, said NRC's Secretary General Jane Egeland. A lethal combination of the spiral of violence, record hunger levels, and total neglect has ignited a mega crisis that warrants a mega response. But instead, millions of families on the brink of the abyss seem to be forgotten by the outside world and are left shut of any support lifetime. Countries in Africa dominated this year's list of the world's 10 most neglected displacement crises once again, with the DRC topping the list, followed by Cameroon, Burundi, Venezuela, Honduras, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, Central African Republic, and Mali. The NRC said the COVID-19 pandemic further worsened the situation for the vulnerable people, causing millions of people who were already struggling to survive in neglected crisis to fall even further behind. The little income they had disappeared, needs skyrocketed, and international funding dried up. So we start with the placing, and DR Congo is at first place. Multiple conflicts in the eastern part of DRC escalated last year, forcing 6,000 people to flee their homes every day, making it the crisis in the world with the largest number of new displacement due to conflict. Cameroon is at second place, and conflict forced 17-year-old Miracle to flee her village in Cameroon. 3 separate crises in the country have affected almost all the country's 10 regions. Burundi is at third place, and Burundi contended with the socio-economic impact of COVID-19, increased displacement due to the climate hazards, and returning refugees in 2020, and all with limited assistance from the international community. Venezuela is at fourth place, and more than 5 million Venezuelans have fled the country due to the repression of food and medicine shortage in 2014, making it on the largest displacement crisis in the world. Honduras is at fifth place, and Honduras was devastated by 2 tropical storms in 2020 on top of chronic hunger levels, criminal gang violence, climate change, and widespread of unemployment. At sixth place is Nigeria, and armed conflict in northern eastern Nigeria showed no sign of ending as it entered its 12th year, with widespread violence and attacks directed at relief organizations to prevent them from accessing people in health, accessing people in need. At seventh place, there is Burkina Faso, and Burkina Faso was the world's fastest growing humanitarian and protection crisis in 2020, with escalating violence doubling the number of people displaced to extend the 1 million mark. Ethiopia is at the 8th place, and Lelti, her husband and daughter, fled Ethiopia to Sudan after political standoff between the country's federal government and regional authorities in the Tigray region escalated in a full-scale conflict in November 2020. At 9th place is Central African Republic. At the end of 2020, elections unrest in the Central African Republic led to a large-scale displacement and an increase in already extreme humanitarian needs. Mali is the last on the 10th position, and Adama Haruna is one of the 326,000 people displaced in Mali, as insecurity and conflict worsen the overall humanitarian crisis in 2020. This is where I end today's edition of editorial. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you some other time. Do have an amazing day.